To start with, Carlin Film James has been out for the spring now. He had to have a procedure on his leg. He'll be back ready to go in July. It's unfortunate for him. He was having a really good spring. Um, Being a senior's last go around, I know he was frustrated with it, but it's something that needed to be done, and he'll be back better than ever. With the scrimmage of the day, offensively, a few things that I thought we'd done well. We've eliminated penalties, converted third downs, handled the 4-minute situation. Still have occasionally a bad snap or two, and offensively, you can't start a play unless you can get the ball from the center to quarterback exchange. So really have to improve in that standpoint. Can't have any issues there. Still didn't create as many explosive plays as we would like. Too many negative plays, whether it's in a run game or sacks, and just not finishing, whether it's out on the perimeter, whether it's up front, in the run game, the pass game, just finishing blocks, have to be able to finish. Defensively, I thought there was a lot more strain on the defensive side of the ball, a little more effort than I saw in the previous scrimmage, a lot more knockback tackles, guys trying to finish. There was pressure on the quarterback. Did give up a couple of big plays. Need to eliminate those. Really got to improve consistency at all three levels, whether it's starts with communication, getting lined up, playing the proper technique, being a finisher every play. And we got to find a way to get more turnovers. In the kicking game, Brent Smaglia continues to have a good camp. Got to get more consistency with our punters and our long snappers. They have plenty of ability and experience, just got to do it every single day the right way. And we got 3 opportunities this week. We got to continue to work hard to be a smart, a tough, and a fundamentally sound football team. And today's another opportunity. We'll see where we go. We've really improved from the last scrimmage to this scrimmage. So had 12 pretty good days. Today will be day 13, and we're excited to get back out there. I think our guys have worked hard. We've come a long ways since spring has started, and we got to continue to improve and clean up some of our techniques so we can play clean football.
Coach, you said last night on the radio that the offense was further along than you anticipated them being this spring. In what areas are you most pleased, and are you further along than you thought you would be heading into last week?
Well, we've been more consistent running the football. We have less mental errors than we had this time last year. I think we're bigger, we're stronger. We can push a little more. We have to get more consistency in doing that. I think especially with the ones, Jarrett has experience. Probably Saturday was not his best practice. Might have been his worst practice for the spring. But got to have a little more consistency there. But we have some guys who have playmaking ability on the offensive side that have some experience. And putting in a new system, I think it's been relatively easy for the guys. Just watching, from afar, looking at it, you couldn't tell that it's a new system.
Jeremy, what's the format for Saturday? Is it 1s v 1s and 2s v 2s?
Yeah, we'll have orange team, white team. One team will consist of the first defense and the second offense, and they'll play against the first offense and the second defense. So we'll play a game. We traditionally in the spring have a running clock until we get the last 4 minutes of each half, and then it goes into a 2-minute situation. But we're really trying to get, if you play that way, you're probably going to get 50 snaps with each group. I think we hope to play a little faster so we can get more snaps. We'd like to get somewhere in the between 65 and 70 range. So some of that has to do with putting drives together. But I think it'll be a great opportunity. This past Saturday we had a 151 play scrimmage, so that's far and away the most we've had since we've been here. We need it. We need to play. We got lots of guys that in the last scrimmage that played somewhere between 50 and 70 snaps. So that's close to playing an entire game. So that's what we need. We need guys that are game ready come fall.
Jeremy, aside from maybe Darryl Taylor, have there been a couple other edge rushers who have kind of emerged this spring, or how's the progression going there? Because obviously y'all want to get to the quarterback more than you did last year.
Well, I thought this past scrimmage, I thought Kevon Bennett had a good scrimmage. He's a guy that we moved last year from D-line to outside linebacker, and we were fortunate enough to be able to redshirt him last year. So he's gained some experience there. He still makes a few mental errors here and there, but I think he plays hard. So it gives him a chance to have success at a position that his body type kind of fits a little more than D-tackle.
Steve and Jimmy and Corey.
Just on the subject of edge rushers, there are a bunch of them from this conference. They're expected to go in the first round of the draft later this month. I'm just wondering, what is it about this league that produces such good edge rushers, and do you expect there to be any kind of drop-off this fall with so many guys getting drafted early?
No, there won't be a drop-off of defensive football in this league. Guys in this league recruit too well. Lots of teams have depth, so there's always elite pass rushers in this league.
Jimmy, talk about the progress of your offensive line.
Well, it's not where we want to be, but there is a lot of positives. We've got guys who have really improved this spring. We've got to be more consistent. We've got to play with a little better pad level. Got to become better finishers. And I think up front, the first thing is you got to know what to do. If you know what to do and you know who you're blocking, that gives yourself a chance. And you got to have the proper technique. And you got to execute the technique with a proper pad level, and you got to be able to finish. It's one thing to know who to block and you start the technique, but you got to finish. So that's one thing that we need to improve on in the next 3 practices.
Corey and Patrick.
Coach, can you think of any examples in your past years of players who use the spring game as a platform to maybe elevate themselves and earn a bigger role in the fall?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of guys. It's the third scrimmage. It's the way practices are set up now with the NCAA rules. You get 3 opportunities to actually really go play football like you play on Saturday. So, you look at it, we do all this stuff, all the practice, all the off season, all the training, all the conditioning, nutrition, treatment, everything really for 12 opportunities. And you want to make sure when you get those 12 opportunities that you get it right. Well, Saturday is a big deal. It's a big deal to our players. I think it's very important for any program. You get a chance to go out in front of a bunch of people and see if you can do it the right way. Hey, when you don't do it the right way, how do you respond? So I think it's a platform for everybody. It's who takes advantage of it.
Patrick and Vince.
Jeremy, how did the week go with D'Angelo at safety, and is the plan to keep him there for the last week, or are you guys going to move him back to offense?
D'Angelo has done really well at star. We've played him just at star because that's kind of what he's played before and what he knows. And, after you've practiced 9 times and you put him over there, you'd like for him to have a chance so you could see what his skill set is. He's a big guy that is a good blitzer, plays well in a run, has really soft hands. So he picked off a pass the other day in the scrimmage, and that's one of the things that you need to have in the back end when the offense makes a mistake. You got to make them pay, and he's a guy that can do that. There's lots of little bitty things that he probably needs cleaned up because he missed the first 9 days, but we're going to leave him on this side of the ball and get 3 more practices, so that'll give us 6 on the defensive side and be able to make kind of a decision about where he needs to go from there.
2 things, Coach. One, is there any sort of incentive for the winning team in the spring game? I know that's something that they did at Alabama with the meals. And then also, can you talk about the return game, punt and kick return, what you've seen from that, and any candidates you're looking at there?
Well, I think the first incentive is just pride, you know. So we've tried to make every day where there's winners and losers and there's consequences. So it's kind of heated up our spring practice a little bit. I think we've had really good competition within positions and offense versus defense. So it'll be another opportunity to do that. I think if you love the game of football and if you're going to be good at it, you better love it. An opportunity to go practice in front of ever how many thousand folks will be there, or to be incentive enough. You know, as far as the kicking game, you know, Marquez Callaway has done it for a couple of years and has lots of experience. We've been working Ty Chandler, Bryce Thompson, Trayvon Flowers, Jordan Murphy as other guys that have taken reps. And these guys took reps last year. It takes a guy with experience that can stand out there and catch these punts that hang up there for 5 seconds with 10 guys screaming down there on top of you in front of 100,000 folks. So we've been doing a lot of live situations trying to get these guys to where they're game ready. And, you know, we can simulate it all. We just can't simulate the 100,000 folks.
You mentioned D'Angelo and Starr. That's obviously an important position, that star nickel spot in your defense. What have you seen, you know, through 2/3 of spring practice from the guys that you're repping there, and who is kind of getting the looks there with Balin being limited right now?
Well, you know, we teach everything conceptually, so most every single guy in our secondary can play multiple spots. You know, for the last probably 6 or 7 practices, we've worked Nigel Warrior there, Sean Schamberger, Balin can play there. There's lots of guys that could play the star position or money. Bryce has moved in and out, so all of our guys can play multiple spots just based off concept. So we're creating depth there, which is good, and we also have competition.
David, and then Rick.
Jimmy, going into the spring game, which groups or players do you sort of really want to see, or do you have questions about after the first 2 scrimmages that you guys have had so far in the spring?
Do what now?
Going into the spring game, which groups or players are you kind of wanting to see, especially in the spring game, after you want to see them respond after the first 2 scrimmages you guys have had?
Well, I would say everybody. You know, you're only as good as the last time you went out on the field, so we're not good enough to be taking any days off. So you want to see everybody respond the right way and compete and improve.
Coach, it's obviously still early in the game, but through spring drills, what have you seen contributions-wise from your new offensive coaches, Jim Chaney and T. Martin?
Well, I think Jim's a very good teacher. He's very demanding. He's got a really good teaching progression. You know, I've sat in several meetings, you know, when he coaches the coaches, and you know, the fact that he's not particularly coaching a position, you know, he can walk around to each individual group. You know, and T's a guy that brings a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge to the position. I see our guys developing confidence on the outside. You know, I think our wide receivers, you know, are probably our most experienced group on our team, and it shows by the way they go about their business every day, but I see lots of improvement from that position.
Ryan and Steve.
Jeremy, what's Warren Burrell done well so far this spring? You know, how's he kind of settled in this first semester, and where does he need to go to get himself ready to play this fall?
Well, I think Warren is a guy that has really good ball skills. He's instinctive. He's conscientious. Probably needs to get a little stronger, a little bigger, where he's got more play strength. But he comes from a very good high school program, played on some good football teams, you know, and he's a guy that has been able to get his hands on some balls out there, kind of shows up where the ball's at, but he's got to improve his tackling ability. He's got a chance to help us on special teams. So he just got to continue to work and improve every single day.
Last 2, Steve and Wes.
Going back to T, what made you decide you wanted him on your staff? What was it that you saw about his background or just his coaching ability that made you think he'd be an ideal fit here?
Who?
T.
T? Well, first of all, he won a national championship here. I've recruited against T for a very long time, and he's first class, does it the right way, builds great relationships with the players, the family. I've coached against him, just watching from afar. The offenses that he's been in charge of have been very successful. If you look at the guys that he particularly coaches, the wide receivers that he had at USC, lots of guys who were very productive. They were skilled, but they played with really good technique and played the right way.
Jeremy, how do you, I guess behind Dom there at tight end, how do you feel about the situation there? I mean, you got, a couple of veterans there, a couple of new guys that look like they maybe have some talent. How do you feel about that position overall this spring?
Well, we've got guys that, Dom was here last year. Austin Pope played some. Andrew Craig, got Jackson Lowe. We've worked Jacob Warren in there. So Princeton Fan is working at that position now. So we got guys that have a skill set that fits the position. They don't have a whole lot of experience. The only way you can get the experience is to go out there and practice every single day. And when you talk about a tight end, what you ask him to do, he's got to be able to block a 300-pound guy in the C area and be able to win. He's got to be able to pass pro. He's got to be able to flex out and run routes like a wide receiver. So there's a lot that goes into that skill set. And, some of the guys do certain things better than they do others. Dom's a guy that can kind of do all of it. So we've got to continue to improve at that position.